He's a ruthless CEO, powerful, feared, and heartless. But when his wife's passion project is suddenly threatened, she never expected the shocking truth behind it. Could her husband be hiding more than just business secrets? The conference room was bathed in the glow of the city skyline, the late evening light bouncing off the polished marble table. Nathan Prescott sat at the head, his presence dominating the space. Impeccably dressed in a tailored suit, his piercing blue eyes scanned the room with calculated precision as his executives presented the latest expansion plans. A map of the city sprawled across the screen, highlighting the targeted area, an old, worn-down community center that had seen better days. It's prime real estate, his COO declared, adjusting his glasses. If we clear the community center, we'll have the space for our new state-of-the-art headquarters. The numbers make sense. Nathan remained silent, his fingers tapping rhythmically against his leather chair. He didn't hesitate when it came to business decisions, especially ones that promised growth and profit. But as the presentation continued, a subtle discomfort brewed within him, one he couldn't quite place. Outside the boardroom, the streets bustled with life. At the very center of the proposed demolition zone was the Haven Community Center, a sanctuary for those who had nowhere else to turn. It was a place where troubled kids found guidance, where the elderly gathered to share stories, and where one particularly passionate woman poured her heart into making a difference. Sophia Prescott, Nathan's wife, was unaware that the very community center she dedicated her days to was under threat. Her world was colored by compassion, and despite her husband's distant demeanor, she never let his ruthless corporate world taint her optimism. That evening, while Nathan reviewed documents in his spacious home office, Sophia bustled into the room, a lightness in her step despite her exhaustion. "You're late," Nathan noted, his tone neutral but his gaze softer than usual. Sophia smiled. It was movie night at the center. The kids loved it, especially when we made popcorn. She pulled off her coat, revealing her worn, paint-splattered sweater, and poured herself a cup of tea. Nathan gave a slight nod, returning to his documents. He never paid much attention to her charity work, dismissing it as a hobby, something to keep her busy while he managed their sprawling empire. As Sophia spoke animatedly about the new art classes they were setting up, Nathan couldn't help but feel a pang of something unidentifiable. He was used to her boundless energy, her unwavering dedication to the community. It was one of the reasons he'd fallen for her, even if he rarely showed it now. But the next morning, as he walked into the office and glanced at the final proposal for the new headquarters, his mind wandered back to Sophia's stories from the night before. An unspoken conflict simmered in his chest, but he pushed it aside, determined to stay focused. Meanwhile, Sophia was oblivious to the ticking clock of fate. She was too busy planning the next community event, unaware that the very man she loved was about to change everything. Little did Nathan know his cold, calculated decision would soon collide with the one thing he never expected, his wife's passion. And when worlds clash, secrets are forced into the light. Nathan's morning began like any other, coffee brewed to perfection, the scent filling his modern kitchen. Sophia was already gone, having left a note on the counter. "Early start at the center today. Have a great day. Love, Sophia." He glanced at the note longer than usual, the words blurring slightly in his mind. A strange sense of guilt lingered, but he shook it off. He wasn't the sentimental type, and business always came first. Arriving at his office, his assistant, Daniel, greeted him with the day's agenda. "Sir, the legal team needs final approval on the demolition permits for the Haven Community Center," Daniel reported, placing a thick file on Nathan's desk. Nathan hesitated, his hand hovering over the pen. "Did we receive any public complaints?" he asked, his voice even. "A few petitions, mostly from locals, but nothing significant. It's a rundown place. Most would rather see something new," Daniel replied, sounding almost dismissive. Nathan nodded, but his mind wandered to Sophia. He knew she was passionate about the center, but it had never seemed like more than a small project to him. Just then his phone buzzed. A message from Sophia popped up. "Big day today. We're starting the new art project with the kids. Wish me luck. Nathan's lips curved into a rare, soft smile. He couldn't remember the last time he'd seen her so genuinely happy. As he clicked his pen, a thought struck him. What if he took a closer look at the place himself, just to see what she saw? That afternoon, dressed down in a casual jacket and baseball cap, Nathan found himself standing in front of the Haven Community Center. The building was weathered, its paint peeling, but life radiated from within. Kids laughed and ran around outside, and Sophia's familiar laugh floated through the open windows. As he cautiously stepped in, the vibrant murals on the walls caught his attention, expressions of hope, family, and dreams. A little boy bumped into him, clutching a makeshift cardboard spaceship. "Sorry, mister," the boy chirped before dashing off again. Nathan found himself lingering near the entrance, his normally confident presence reduced to that of an outsider. He spotted Sophia, surrounded by kids, teaching them how to mix colors on their palettes. Her joy was palpable, infectious. Without warning, one of the volunteers approached him. "Are you new here? We could always use more help with the art supplies," she said with a welcoming smile. Nathan stammered, caught off guard. Just looking around," he replied, his usual composure slipping. Sophia hadn't noticed him yet, and a strange urge to remain unseen tugged at him. He watched as she guided the kids through painting landscapes, her hands stained with bright colors. A warmth spread through his chest, a feeling he hadn't experienced in years. He didn't stay long, but as he left, his mind was spinning. For the first time in a long while, he questioned his own choices. Was the expansion really worth erasing something so pure, so full of life? Back at the office, Daniel noticed his boss's distracted state. "Everything all right, sir?" Nathan didn't answer. Instead, he glanced at the demolition file, a knot forming in his stomach. He closed it without signing, leaving it untouched. That night, Sophia returned home beaming, rambling about the kids' art progress. Nathan listened more attentively than usual, his mind replaying the laughter and colors from earlier. As he lay in bed later, staring at the ceiling, the reality settled in. He had a decision to make, one that would either preserve his company's future or protect his wife's heart. And for the first time, the choice didn't feel as obvious as it usually did. Nathan barely slept that night. His thoughts circled like vultures, picking apart the dilemma he couldn't seem to escape. The deal was supposed to be straightforward: acquire the land, demolish the old community center, and construct the company's new headquarters. Simple, efficient, profitable. But now, every time he pictured the shiny new building, he saw Sophia's smile fading, replaced by betrayal and hurt. The next morning, he dressed slower than usual, his movements uncharacteristically sluggish. As he entered the kitchen, he found Sophia making breakfast, humming softly to herself. "Morning," she greeted with a warm smile, flipping pancakes on the griddle. "You're up early." He forced a smile. "Couldn't sleep." Sophia glanced over her shoulder, her face softening with concern. "Work stress." "Something like that," he mumbled. She placed a plate of pancakes in front of him. "Eat. You look like you've been battling the world all night." He picked at the food absent-mindedly, his mind still racing. As Sophia poured herself coffee, her phone chimed with a message. She glanced at it, her expression brightening. "Oh, we got a small grant for the art program. It's not much, but it'll help with supplies." Nathan couldn't help but notice how something so small made her so genuinely happy. Meanwhile, he spent his days chasing billions, yet rarely felt even a fraction of that joy. He cleared his throat. "Sophia, what makes that place so important to you?" She looked up, surprised by his sudden interest. "It's more than just a building, Nate. It's a place where people find hope. A place where they feel seen, heard, cared for. Some of those kids have nowhere else to go. And the seniors, it's the only place where they're not just forgotten." Her words settled heavily in his chest. "I see." Sophia smiled softly, unaware of the conflict raging inside him. "You should come by sometime. See it for yourself. I bet you'd fall in love with it too." He didn't respond, instead pushing his plate away. "I'll think about it." At the office, Daniel briefed him on the latest updates. The City Planning Commission wants to expedite the demolition. Apparently, some of the council members think the area is an eyesore. Nathan remained silent, his gaze fixed on the project blueprints. "Sir," Daniel prompted. Nathan snapped back to reality. "Delay the final approval." Daniel's eyebrows shot up. "But you said to push it through." "I changed my mind," Nathan said firmly. "Just hold off until I say otherwise." Daniel hesitated, clearly confused, but didn't argue. "Understood." That evening, Nathan couldn't resist the urge to return to the center. He parked his car a block away and walked over, blending into the bustling neighborhood. As he neared the entrance, he heard voices. Sophia's voice, warm and encouraging. Peeking through the window, he saw her helping a young boy with a math problem. The boy looked frustrated, but Sophia's patient guidance eventually coaxed a triumphant smile from him. Nathan couldn't tear his gaze away. There was a light in her eyes he hadn't seen in years, a glow that made him feel like a stranger in his own marriage. Suddenly, a familiar voice startled him. Well, didn't think I'd see you here." Nathan turned to find Charlie, one of the center's longtime volunteers, leaning against the doorway. Charlie was older, with a wiry frame and a kind, knowing smile. "I was just passing by," Nathan lied, his usual confidence faltering. Charlie smirked. "You don't pass by here, Prescott. You're here for a reason." Nathan swallowed. "Just wanted to see what it was like." Charlie's gaze softened. "Sophia's got a gift, you know? She doesn't just help people. She makes them believe in themselves. Haven't seen anyone light up this place like that since Margaret." Nathan's chest tightened. Margaret, the center's founder, had passed away years ago, and Sophia had practically stepped into her shoes, dedicating herself to keeping the place running. "Why are you telling me this?" Nathan asked. Charlie shrugged. "Figured someone ought to remind you of what really matters." As Charlie walked away, Nathan remained rooted in place, his mind churning. For years, he'd built his empire, shutting out anything that might make him appear vulnerable or soft. But seeing Sophia so alive, so passionate about something he barely understood, made him realize just how far he'd drifted from her world. That night, Nathan found himself unable to focus on work. He looked at the company's mission statement on his office wall, pushing boundaries, building futures. It suddenly felt hollow. Maybe building futures didn't always mean tearing down the past. Nathan found himself standing on the balcony of his penthouse, overlooking the city skyline. The night air was crisp, but his thoughts were anything but clear. Below him, the city thrived, bright lights, busy streets, people moving through their lives without a care for his dilemma. For the first time in years, he couldn't just make a decision based purely on profit. The memory of Sophia's laughter with the kids, her passion for the center, and Charlie's words played in his mind like a broken record. His phone buzzed, breaking his reverie. It was Daniel. Reluctantly, he picked up. "Sir, the investors are pushing for an update. They want to know when the demolition will start." Nathan gripped the railing. "Tell them it's delayed. We're reevaluating the plan." "Sir, they won't be happy. This project is worth millions. They're not going to understand a delay." Nathan hesitated, then spoke with quiet resolve. "Let me handle the investors. Just stall for now." After ending the call, he couldn't help but wonder why he was hesitating. Why did this one project feel different? Why couldn't he just push it through like every other business move? The next day, Nathan decided to visit the community center again, this time intentionally. He dressed more casually, hoping to blend in. As he approached, he noticed a small group of elderly women sitting on the front steps, knitting and chatting. One of them waved at him cheerfully. "Well, aren't you a new face?" she greeted. "Come to help out." Before he could respond, Sophia appeared at the door, surprised to see him. "Nathan, what are you doing here?" He cleared his throat, suddenly feeling out of place. "I wanted to see the place. You always talk about it, and I realized I'd never really seen it." Sophia's eyes softened, a cautious smile tugging at her lips. "Really? You're curious about the center?" He nodded, unsure how to explain the sudden change of heart. She led him inside, introducing him to the volunteers and showing him the different rooms. In the art studio, Kids painted brightly colored murals on the walls. Murals of hope, family, and community. A little girl tugged on Sophia's sleeve. "Miss Sophia, can you help me with the sky? I want it to look like a sunset." Sophia knelt beside her, guiding her hand with the brush, her voice soft and encouraging. Nathan watched from the doorway, his chest tightening at the sight. One of the volunteers, a middle-aged woman named Linda, approached him. "Your wife is amazing. She's done more for this place than anyone. We'd be lost without her." Nathan managed a tight smile. "She really cares, doesn't she?" Linda nodded. "More than you know." When funding got cut, she started using her own money to keep the programs running. We tried to protest, but she wouldn't hear it. Said the kids and seniors needed it more than her savings. The weight of Linda's words hit Nathan hard. He had no idea Sophia was funding the center herself. Guilt coiled in his stomach like a serpent. Sophia walked over, noticing his thoughtful expression. "You okay?" He forced a smile. "Yeah, I just didn't realize how much you do here." She shrugged modestly. "It's nothing compared to what these people give back. They make this place special." As they left the center, Nathan couldn't shake the feeling that he'd been blind for far too long. He'd always prided himself on being decisive, on never hesitating when it came to business. But now, for the first time, he wasn't sure what the right choice was. That evening, as they sat at home, Sophia couldn't help but bring up his visit. "You seem different today. What made you come by?" Nathan hesitated. "Just wanted to see why it matters so much to you. I guess I never really got it before." Sophia smiled gently, squeezing his hand. "I'm glad you came. It means a lot that you wanted to understand." He looked at her, really looked at her, and realized how much he'd taken for granted. She'd been fighting battles he never even knew existed, quietly, tirelessly, without asking for anything in return. Nathan knew he couldn't go on like this. He couldn't keep his wife in the dark while he silently tore down the one place she cherished. But telling her the truth would mean risking everything. And for the first time in his life, Nathan Prescott wasn't sure he could handle the fallout. Nathan woke up the next morning feeling more restless than ever. The weight of his decision loomed over him like a dark cloud. He couldn't shake the image of Sophia at the center, surrounded by laughter and hope. At the office, he barely touched his coffee. Daniel, noticing his distraction, approached cautiously. "Sir, the investors are demanding a timeline. They're threatening to pull out if we delay any longer." Nathan rubbed his temples. "Tell them we're still assessing the situation." Daniel hesitated. "Sir, if I may, you've never hesitated on a project before. What's different this time?" Nathan glanced up, his expression hardened. "Just do as I say, Daniel." Daniel nodded, backing off. As soon as he left, Nathan leaned back, trying to regain his composure. He wasn't used to feeling this conflicted. Business had always been clear-cut: profit, efficiency, growth. Emotions didn't factor in. But now, it wasn't just a business decision. It was personal. Sophia called him later that afternoon, her voice bright. "You'll never guess what happened." Nathan couldn't help but smile at her enthusiasm. "What's going on?" A donor came forward, anonymously. "They've pledged enough to cover the center's repairs and the art program." "Isn't that amazing?" Nathan's heart pounded. He hadn't authorized any donations, and it wasn't his company's style to give anonymously. "That's great," he managed to say. Sophia's joy was contagious. "This means we can finally fix the roof and get new supplies for the kids. I can't believe it. It's like a miracle." After they hung up, Nathan couldn't shake the uneasy feeling. Who would donate such a significant amount and why? That evening, Nathan did some digging. After a few calls, he discovered the truth. The donation had come from one of his own subsidiary companies, orchestrated by none other than his father, Edward Prescott. Nathan immediately dialed his father's number. Edward answered on the third ring, his tone gruff. "Nathan, to what do I owe the pleasure?" "You donated to the community center," Nathan accused. Edward didn't deny it. "Someone had to." Nathan clenched his jaw. "That wasn't your decision to make." Edward scoffed. "Son, you're so focused on numbers that you're blind to the damage you're about to cause. Your wife believes in that place. It's not just a building to her. It's a lifeline for those people. Do you really think tearing it down will make her happy?" Nathan hesitated, his father's words hitting deeper than he wanted to admit. You don't understand the business side of this. We need that location. And what about the cost of losing your wife's trust? Edward countered. Think about that. For once, Nathan didn't have a retort. That night, he found Sophia in the living room, curled up with a sketchbook. She looked up and smiled when he entered. Long day? She asked. He sat down beside her, the tension evident in his shoulders. Sophia, if something were threatening the center, would you tell me? Her brow furrowed. Of course, but nothing's wrong now, thanks to the donation. Why do you ask? He swallowed hard. Just wondering. I know how much it means to you. Sophia put her sketchbook aside and took his hand. It means a lot, but you mean more. I just wish you could see how special it is. Maybe then you'd understand why I fight so hard for it. Her words sank deep, and Nathan found himself unable to meet her eyes. He wanted to protect her, to make her happy, but his decisions had always been driven by practicality, not sentiment. As Sophia kissed his cheek and went to prepare for bed, Nathan remained on the couch, grappling with a truth he hadn't wanted to face. He might be the villain in her story without even realizing it. The next morning, Daniel informed him that the investors were on the verge of pulling out. Nathan knew the pressure was building, but his mind wasn't on the project anymore. It was on Sophia, the center, and the quiet strength she embodied. Just as he was about to leave the office, he got a text from Sophia. The kids are putting on a little show at the center tomorrow. I know you're busy, but if you can make it, it would mean the world to them. And to me. Nathan stared at the message, his chest tightening. Maybe this was his chance to see what Sophia saw, to understand why the center was worth saving. For the first time in his career, Nathan decided to take a personal day. He didn't know what he'd find at the center, but he knew one thing. He couldn't keep living in two separate worlds. The following evening, Nathan found himself standing outside the community center, feeling more nervous than he'd ever admit. Dressed in a casual jacket and jeans, far from his usual tailored suits, he looked almost unrecognizable. Music and laughter spilled out from the open doors, and he could see families gathered inside, the kids bouncing with excitement. He took a deep breath and stepped inside, blending into the crowd. Sophia was at the front, organizing the kids into groups, her energy infectious. She didn't notice him at first, too caught up in the chaos of preparing for the performance. All right, everyone, take your places, she called out, clapping her hands. Nathan found a spot near the back, trying to remain unnoticed. Just as he settled in, a small voice piped up beside him. Hey, mister, are you here to see the show? He turned to find a little boy with a crooked smile and paint on his shirt. Yeah, I guess I am. The boy grinned. Miss Sophia says it's going to be the best one yet. I'm Sinan. Nathan couldn't help but smile back. That's great. Break a leg. The boy looked confused. Why would I do that? Nathan chuckled softly. It's just something people say. It means good luck. The lights dimmed, and Sophia stepped up to the makeshift stage, her voice carrying warmth and excitement. Welcome, everyone. Thank you for coming to our little showcase. The kids have worked so hard, and they can't wait to show you what they've been practicing. Applause filled the room, and Nathan found himself clapping too, though his hands felt heavy with guilt. As the performance began, he watched Sophia guiding the kids, encouraging them, even stepping in to help a little girl who forgot her lines. The pride and love in her eyes were undeniable. Then, something unexpected happened. One of the kids started singing a familiar song, one that Sophia used to hum at home. It was a tune Nathan remembered from when they first started dating, back when she would sing while cooking dinner, her voice soft and unguarded. He hadn't heard her sing in years. His throat tightened as memories rushed in. How carefree they used to be before work and success consumed him. Back when she believed he cared about more than just profit margins and stock values. At the end of the performance, the room erupted into applause. Sophia hugged each of the kids, whispering words of encouragement. Nathan couldn't take his eyes off her. How her face lit up with pride. How natural she looked among these people who saw her as more than just a CEO's wife. He barely noticed when Charlie slid into the seat beside him. Didn't expect to see you here again, Charlie whispered, his eyes twinkling. Yeah, me neither, Nathan admitted. Charlie smirked. Prescott, I've seen a lot of men come through this place. Some looking for redemption, some just trying to make sense of life. But your wife, she's one of the few who doesn't ask for anything back. She just gives. Nathan swallowed hard, his gaze still fixed on Sophia. Charlie leaned closer. If you really love her, don't let your business ruin the one thing that makes her happy. Before Nathan could respond, Charlie patted his shoulder and left to help clean up. Sophia finally spotted him, her face lighting up with surprise. Nathan, you came. He managed to smile. Yeah, I wanted to see what all the fuss was about. Sophia laughed softly. I didn't expect you to come, but it means a lot. They stood there in the fading light, surrounded by families and volunteers. For once, Nathan didn't feel like a CEO or a man burdened with decisions. He just felt like a husband, trying to reconnect with his wife. As the crowd began to thin, Sophia walked over to where the kids were still buzzing with excitement. Nathan watched as she knelt down to talk to one of the older boys, who was showing her his sketchbook. And in that moment, Nathan knew he had a choice to make, a choice that would define not just his business, but his marriage. Later that night, as they drove home, Sophia was still talking about the performance, her excitement spilling over. Nathan couldn't help but smile. When they got inside, Sophia turned to him, her expression more serious. Nathan, thank you for coming. I know it's not your thing, but it meant the world to me. To them. He hesitated, unsure how to put his thoughts into words. Sophia, I didn't realize how important that place was, or how much you put into it. She bit her lip, hesitant. I never wanted to pressure you. I needed something that wasn't about money or power, something that felt real. Nathan looked down, the weight of his choices pressing on him. I know, and I didn't see it before. I'm sorry. Sophia reached out, touching his hand gently. You don't have to apologize. Just promise me you'll try to understand why it matters. He squeezed her hand, his resolve hardening. I will. But even as he spoke, he knew that keeping that promise might mean risking his entire business empire. The next morning, Nathan woke up with a plan forming in his mind. He couldn't shake the feeling from last night, the joy on Sophia's face, the way the kids looked up to her. He knew what he had to do. At the office, Daniel approached him with the latest reports. Sir, the investors are demanding answers. They want to know why the demolition hasn't started. Nathan looked at the papers, his mind racing. He couldn't just delay forever, but tearing down the community center felt wrong. Schedule a meeting with the board, Nathan said firmly. I'll address it directly. Daniel hesitated. Are you sure? They're not going to be happy. Nathan glanced at his assistant, his voice steady. I'm not looking to make them happy. I'm looking to do what's right. At the board meeting, tension filled the room. The investors, all well-dressed and stone-faced, looked at Nathan expectantly. One of the senior board members, Mr. Callahan, spoke first. Mr. Prescott, we need to move forward with the headquarters project. The delay is costing us millions, and our investors are getting impatient. Nathan leaned forward, his gaze unwavering. I understand the financial implications, but I've recently become aware of the impact this project will have on the community. The center we're planning to demolish isn't just a building. It's a lifeline for hundreds of people. It's a place of hope and support. I can't, in good conscience, tear it down. A murmur spread through the room. Callahan raised an eyebrow. With all due respect, sentimentality doesn't keep our shareholders happy. We're talking about a multi-million-dollar deal. Nathan took a deep breath. Then we'll find another location. We own plenty of properties in the city. I'll personally oversee the new development site. The community center stays. A younger board member chimed in. That will delay the project by at least a year. Nathan nodded. I am aware, but I'm willing to take that risk. The reputation of Prescott Enterprises has always been about more than just profit. We build communities, not destroy them. Callahan shook his head, clearly displeased. You're making a mistake, Prescott. Nathan met his gaze with calm determination. No, I'm making a choice. One that aligns with our core values. Something I believe we've lost sight of. The room fell silent, tension hanging heavy in the air. Finally, Callahan sighed. If you're willing to bear the financial burden, the board will support the decision. But know this, any losses will be on your head. Nathan gave a firm nod. I understand. That evening, Nathan returned home, exhausted but relieved. He found Sophia in the kitchen, humming softly as she prepared dinner. She looked up, surprised to see him home early. You're back already? He walked over and wrapped his arms around her from behind, resting his chin on her shoulder. Yeah, I needed to be here. Sophia leaned into him, her tension melting away. What happened? Nathan hesitated, then pulled back to look at her. I made a decision. The community center, it's not going anywhere. Her eyes widened in disbelief. You saved it? He smiled softly. Yeah, I talked to the board. We're moving the project to another location. Tears filled Sophia's eyes, and she hugged him tightly. Nathan, I don't know what to say. Thank you. He kissed the top of her head. You were right. It's important. I should have listened to you from the start. Sophia pulled back, wiping her tears. What made you change your mind? Nathan hesitated. I went to the center. I saw what it means to those kids, to the community, to you. And I realized I'd been so focused on business that I forgot what really matters. She cupped his face, her eyes searching his. You really did that? He nodded. And I'm not done. I want to help more. I want Prescott Enterprises to support community initiatives, not just crush them for profit. Sophia's smile was brighter than he'd seen in years. That's incredible. You have no idea how much this means to me. Nathan pulled her close, his heart lighter than it had been in ages. I just want to make things right. For you. For us. Later that night, as they sat on the couch, Sophia rested her head on Nathan's shoulder, feeling a sense of peace she hadn't felt in a long time. Nathan, she whispered, why now? What made you change? He looked down at her, his voice quiet. Because I realized that I was losing the one thing that mattered most. You. I don't want to be the kind of man who chooses business over love. I don't want to be the CEO who destroys what his wife cherishes. I want to be better. Sophia kissed him softly, her heart full. You already are. For the first time in a long time, Nathan felt like he'd made the right choice. Not just as a businessman, but as a husband. A week later, the community center was buzzing with activity. Volunteers painted the newly renovated walls. Kids laughed as they helped plant flowers in the garden. And Sophia was right in the middle of it all, her hands smudged with paint, but her smile radiant. Nathan stood by the entrance, watching her, a sense of pride swelling in his chest. He hadn't just saved the center. He'd funded its renovation, making sure it was safe, welcoming, and better equipped for the future. As Sophia directed the volunteers, Charlie sidled up to Nathan, wiping his hands on a rag. You actually pulled it off, Charlie said with a chuckle. Didn't think you had it in you, Prescott. Nathan smirked. Neither did I. Charlie gave him a sideways glance. Your wife's a good one. She doesn't give up on people. Nathan nodded, his gaze fixed on Sophia. I know, and I almost lost her because I couldn't see that. Charlie patted his shoulder. You're here now. That's what counts. Just then, Sophia noticed them and jogged over, her face flushed with happiness. Nathan, you made it. He smiled, brushing some paint off her cheek. I wouldn't miss it. Sophia wrapped her arms around him, unbothered by the fact that she was getting paint on his expensive shirt. You have no idea how much this means to everyone. The kids are so excited to have a safe place to come to after school. Nathan kissed her forehead, his voice soft. I'm just glad I could help. Suddenly, one of the kids ran up to them, a boy named Tommy who had been at the center since it first opened. Mr. Prescott, Tommy shouted, grinning. Look what we made. He held up a large, colorful banner that read, Thank you, Mr. Prescott, with handprints and signatures from all the kids. Nathan felt a lump in his throat as he took in the messy, heartfelt creation. You guys did this? Tommy nodded proudly. Miss Sophia said you helped save the center, so we wanted to thank you. Nathan crouched down, ruffling the boy's hair. It's perfect. I'll make sure it's hung right here at the entrance. Sophia watched the interaction, her heart swelling with love and admiration. For the first time in a long while, she saw the man she fell in love with, the one who cared about more than just business and profit. As the afternoon wore on, Nathan helped plant a tree in the courtyard, something the kids insisted on doing as a symbol of new beginnings. He couldn't help but think about how much his own life had changed since he started coming to the center. When the last of the volunteers had gone home and the sun dipped low in the sky, Sophia and Nathan sat on the newly painted steps, watching the sky turn shades of pink and gold. Sophia leaned against him, her head resting on his shoulder. "I'm proud of you, you know." He chuckled softly. "For what?" "Finally realizing I was wrong." She smiled. "For choosing what's right. For remembering why you started your company in the first place. To make a difference." Nathan wrapped an arm around her, pulling her close. "I lost sight of that for a while. But you never did. You reminded me." Sophia looked up at him, her eyes glistening. "You're not just a CEO, Nathan. You're more than that. You're a good man, when you let yourself be." He kissed her softly, the promise of a new beginning hanging in the air. "I love you, Sophia. I'll keep choosing us." Every time, as they sat together, the newly planted tree swayed gently in the breeze, and Nathan knew that just like the center, his marriage had been given a second chance. And this time, he wasn't going to let it slip away. The community center had become a thriving hub of activity. Nathan had not only saved it, but continued to support its programs through a new charitable branch of Prescott Enterprises. The initiative helped other struggling centers around the city, something that became one of the company's most celebrated projects. Sophia continued her work at the center, more passionate than ever, while Nathan balanced his business with his newfound commitment to community outreach. One evening, as the center hosted a charity event, Sophia took the stage to thank everyone for their support. She spotted Nathan at the back, giving her a subtle thumbs up. With a smile, she addressed the crowd. "When we started this project, it was just a dream. But thanks to people who believe in second chances and the power of community, we've built something beautiful. And I couldn't have done it without my husband, who reminded me that even in business, it's heart that truly matters." As applause erupted, Nathan couldn't help but feel grateful for the center, for his wife, and for the second chance at being the man he always wanted to be. And as Sophia joined him in the back, he knew that no matter what challenges lay ahead, they'd face them together, with love, resilience, and the unwavering belief that some things were worth fighting for.